So good morning, it's Laura. Just a quick little video to kind of tell what's going on. Today's Monday, it's May 1st. Lots of things are going on at the center. Just to give you an idea of our daily routines, we got up this morning, read Proverbs for the day before breakfast and talked about it, and then had breakfast. On Mondays, Mark usually goes into the city and he buys the things that we need for the feeding, like for extra cups or spoons or those kind of things that we need. Sometimes if we don't have a lot of the greens that we need to put in the soup from our kitchen garden, which we've started to have now, but not a lot, he'll get some of those kind of things. And then just whatever we need for the week. He's also stopping at Epicenter, which is kind of like a Home Depot, to get a few things that we need for some of the projects around, like the fence that we're putting around our new compost area. So the guys are out doing their business. Dima is cutting grass for the animals on our path in the garden. Ura is out working on the fence. He's really good at detail work, so Mark's got him closing off some of the top on the fence because they don't come closed here, and wiring them to the posts to make sure it stays in the right position. Then our new guy, Leonid, he is digging the dirt and turning it over where we're going to be planting our tomatoes and our cucumbers, where the trellis is going to be. So they're going to work on that. Pastor Sergey came by and borrowed the tractor and the tiller. He's going to till his garden, which is just 1.5 kilometers maybe away on the other side of the village, and he's going to plant his potatoes, and then the remaining of his potatoes he's going to give to us and finish out our field across the village, because we were just a little bit shy in the seed potatoes that we had. So he's going to give us the rest of the potatoes in exchange for fuel. You know, usually he would kind of give us a little bit of fuel as he uses the tractor, but he's going to give us potatoes this time. And so Mark's been training him a lot more on the tractor and how to do that, because he's going to be working closer with us here, handling a lot of the garden and the animals, so that Mark and I are a little bit freer so we can work on some major projects that need to be done, but also to start working toward maybe a soup kitchen in Vinica. And just looking through they don't have a real estate agent kind of like we do. They don't have listings like that. So it's basically you got to drive around and you got to find places that have a rent sale, and then you got to call them and you got to ask all the questions. Some of them don't have their own water. Some of them don't have a bathroom, those kind of things. So it's kind of just a long, tedious process in trying to find a good place that's a good location that has all the things that we need. Today, I am wrapping up the bread that I made last night. I made, 4 loaves of cheesy garlic bread for the men, 2 of raisin cinnamon bread here for the men. I made a small one, a little bit more of rye flour than wheat flour for Mark. I also made him 2 cheesy breads. I made him some homemade hamburger buns out of the rye, because that's better for him as a diabetic. Made a whole bunch of chocolate chip cookies yesterday evening and was working till about 11:30 at night. And it's cooled now, so I'm packing it up and going to put it in the freezer. So while I'm gone, the guys will be able to pull out some of this bread and eat. Mark will have his hamburger buns. I also made chocolate chip cookies for him and oatmeal raisin cookies for him, using more of the rye bread, like 75%, and then 25% wheat flour, and then using stevia instead of sugar and those kind of things, just to make it easier for a diabetic. So he feels like he can eat some sweets, but they're not very bad for him like normal sweets would be. So trying to prepare all that. And one of the reasons is because I'm going to be heading to America. My parents are having a little bit more health issues, and they're moving into a retirement complex more than a year in advance of what they expected. And so I have the opportunity to go back to help them finish packing up, because my sisters have helped some, and I'm going to pack them up and help them move into their new place and help them get unpacked. So I'm going to be in America for the month of May. And so it kind of came up quick. We had the opportunity to send me, I bought the tickets, and I've just been kind of frantically getting ready and making sure that everything's planned it as much as possible, those kind of things. So allergy season for me, because everything's blooming, so the asthma, cough, and all that kind of stuff is going on. But that's just kind of what we're doing today. I'll be taking care of some computer stuff. I'm finishing up our nonprofit taxes for America, because with all the donations that everybody gave last year because of the war, It bumped us up a category to where I have to fill out a 990 EZ form instead of just a simple postcard. But I've been able to get all that done, and now I just have to type in the formal information and print it out. It's due on May 15th, so when I get back into America, I'll just send it certified return receipt and make sure the IRS gets that and shows that we're still a nonprofit. Basically, for nonprofit organizations, we have to prove that we have more than 33.5% public support, and that how we're spending it is not unlike some administrative issues. So we are in the 90% range as far as public support, so we way more than meet the requirements, 3 times more. And then our administrative costs are very, very low, like 1 to 2%. And part of that is Mark and I are paid a salary each of $500 a year. So our total income is $1,000 a year that we live off of for our personal medications and those kind of things. Professional fees like bank fees and notarists and those kind of things, we have to kind of list out some specific things. And of course they want to know if we're politically involved in lobbying, which we're not doing any of that. So I got to get all that done and just finish some stuff up, and I'm already pretty much packed. And then tomorrow after the feeding, our volunteers Jennifer and Steve are going to come up for the feeding, and then I'm going to go with them down to Mogilev Podolsky, which is on the border of Ukraine and Moldova. And Wednesday morning I will walk across the border and catch a bus from there down to Chisinau, which is the capital of Moldova, where I'll fly out, and I'll fly through Warsaw, Poland to Chicago. I'll spend the night in Chicago at my sister's house, and then she's going to let me use her car, and I'm going to drive down to Memphis. It's an 8-hour drive, and I'll be down there for the month helping. And then I'll drive back to Chicago on the 25th of May, and I'll spend a couple days with my youngest sister there, and then I'll fly back. So that's kind of the whole process of what's going on and kind of what we're doing today. So just kind of a glimpse into our lives here.